Yeah, so do you want Joy of Romeo to be a business? You started out doing it as a hobby because you love your son and you were doing these things for him. So do you want that to become a business and a brand and a source of income, or do you want it to just be for fun?
And that's why I was hoping you could help me get clarity on. I told you,
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I do know that I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to be a business owner. But is Joy of Romeo that? I don't know. Like I just, and that's what I constantly grapple with myself about. Like I'm always writing ideas about, and I'm like, I just don't think, I'm not sure if that's where it is.
Mhm.
I'm just not sure. But how will I find out? How will I know if it should be a business or not?
Right. All right. So let me give you two pieces of advice because it sounds like you got a lot in here, right? And it sounds like you have to simplify. And one of my favorite quotes from this entrepreneur, this woman named Marie Forleo, one of the things she says all the time is clarity comes from engagement, not thought. So, getting clear on something, it sounds like you're doing some brainstorming, you're writing a lot of things down, but it doesn't sound like you've tried on any of these different options. So you have to get clear on what it is you want to do. So how do you get clear? And the thing I love about that quote is that clarity comes from engagement. So you've tried one thing. You've tried Joy of Romeo as one way of being an entrepreneur. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that is not the avenue because it sounds like it was just something you wanted to do for fun because you love what you were doing. So what are your other options? So one of the things I would suggest you to do is take, like, do you have an hour one day, like after Romeo goes to sleep or whatever? Take an hour and brainstorm like at least two or three different futures. And by that I mean, what's some stuff that if you just take all the reality out of it, what are two or three different futures you would like to see if you were an entrepreneur? Like, is it fashion? Is it mommy type blogging, which is what you're doing now? Is it consulting? Is it anything? But brainstorm some different things and then see how those make you feel. See how it makes you feel to do, whether it's consulting for, what's your background? What's your like professional background?
Healthcare administration.
Okay, so healthcare administration. Is it something around healthcare administration? Is it something completely different like fashion? Is it something like mommying a son? Just try on a couple of different futures. Do some brainstorming. Don't like limit yourself to what you can see right now or how much time you have or money or anything. But to get really clear on something, you're going to have to figure out like what are some different avenues? How do those things make me feel if I'm going to go out and do those? And then try them. So you've tried one thing. Maybe that's not it. That's fine. I mean, you're lucky because you figured it out in a couple of years. A lot of people go their whole lives and they don't figure out, oh, well, maybe this ain't the thing I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then the second thing I would suggest that you do is look around at where other people are asking you for help. Where do your family, your friends, your people who really know you, what are they asking you to do? Like, are they asking you to help them organize their closets? Is it people at work asking you to organize something revolving around healthcare administration? Where do people already see talent in you? Because, you know, a business is not a business if other people aren't willing to give you money in exchange for your products or your services, right? So where is it that people are already asking for your help?
Yeah, I'd be trying to think about that. Like where, and I feel like everyone always calls, like people call me this all the time, the cleanup woman. People are always calling me to solve a problem. Like I'm always the person in personal and professional, like that someone's in trouble, something I have to fix a mess. And I'm like, but do I want to do that? Like, do I want to always be the cleanup woman, or like, you know, or is that even a market for something? I just don't know. But I wrote that down just now so I could help like brainstorm that, you know, and the
Yeah.
the futures, because I like that. And I like how you're saying like a path, like what would the future look like if I was to take this mom blogging all the way out? What would the future look like if I was to take this healthcare career or this journey all the way out? Or a restaurant, if I want to get into food, like I just think you're right. I need to plan it all the way out and see like, okay, and then what are the steps I need to take if that's the best path that I want to go after?
Yeah, but so I'm not even, so you're right, but don't feel like, so a lot of people get in this mode of, oh, I need to plan for everything. All I'm suggesting you do is brainstorm a couple of things. I'm not saying put a whole plan together.
Okay.
But brainstorm some different things. You're right. At some point, you will have to make a plan and take some steps. But it can be really overwhelming to do all of that. What I'm suggesting you do is try on a couple of different things, spend a little time doing those things, and then make a decision. And like you were saying about being a cleanup lady or a cleanup woman, there's all kinds of ways you can do that in any of the fields you mentioned or any others. Or if it's just like Georgina can help you fix any problem. Do you watch Scandal? Have you ever seen Scandal?
Mm-mm.
So I don't watch Scandal either, but that show Scandal is based on a real life woman, a Black woman, who is really good at solving other people's problems. And she has a whole consulting firm around just solving people's problems. And it turned into a full-blown television moment in history. And so, anything it is that you are good at, where you can solve a problem for somebody else, there's going to be a market for it. Trust me when I tell you. Right now, for you, it's just a matter of what direction do you want to go? And not because somebody else is saying it to you, but because it's what you want. Right. It sounds like you're doing a lot of what everybody else wants right now. And I think what you have to do is say, block yourself off a little and ask, what do I want? And then how can I figure out how to navigate and make it happen? You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And even if, so like for me, when I was, gosh, this was probably a decade ago, I thought, when I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I thought I should just start a law firm because I was a lawyer. People always asked me for legal help. Why not just start a law firm and do that? And I did that, but it just wasn't the right thing for me. It was the thing that I thought was easy. It was right there because people were always coming to me asking for trademark help or divorce help, whatever the case might be. But I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And I want to help people. I want to help people who want to start businesses and have brands. And so like you've been in it 2 years, you've done a great job, but you're not so far in where you can't get out of it. Or if you can't, stop and say, I'm transitioning to something else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What'd you think about that?
No, I think that calms me because it's like you're right. Like I'm not too far into it where I'm like, oh no, like if I have to go to do something else, it's not going to end my world, right? Like I can be flexible, like I can bend and flex to different things. And like, you just even sharing that, like the whole law firm thing, that's like, it was okay for you to start over or figure out a different path. Like that's okay, and I just never think about it being okay. I'm like, if I mess this up, it's the end.
No, it is not the end. And you might be able to connect a lot of these things together. So I haven't given up law completely. I still talk about trademarks and patents and contracts and all of that. I'm just not going to be your lawyer because I do not want to practice law in that way anymore. Mm-hmm. But I still get to talk about it and teach people about it. And you probably will find that the same way too. Maybe it's not Joy of Romeo that is the end goal for you, but what if it's, here's how you create a brand. Here's how you get, an Instagram following. Here's how you take the life you lead day to day and turn it into a brand. It doesn't have to be you doing stuff with your son or teaching your son different things and all that. You might be able to connect a lot of dots together.
Okay, I like that.
So it's just figuring out, what have you learned? What are you good at already? Or what are you passionate about learning if you don't know it already? Where you can take a step back and say, here's how I can create a brand or a business around this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it could literally be anything. Do not limit yourself. Do not limit yourself.
Okay.
Because I would even say, so, you know, you and I have met a couple times. We don't really know each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the way you take pictures. I love the way you put your looks together. I love the way your Instagram page, I just like how it looks, you know? And there are a lot of people probably who like how it looks. Like, you could teach people. Actually, one of the women I spend the most of my professional development money on, like, her entire business is around how you create an Instagram page that looks nice. You know, like, there's a business for anything you want to do or anything you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you have to be very limited in any specific way.
That's amazing. Thank you. I didn't even think about that, but I just love pictures in general, and I just love the stories they give. But I never thought, like, you're really causing me to think outside of the box on, like, what I want to do and what do I like and how that could be a business, you know, not just what I think everyone else wants me to do, you know?
Yeah. And like you said at the very beginning, maybe it's some things I just like to do because I like to do them. I'm not going to make $1 million doing it. I don't want to do sponsored blog posts about it. I just want to post this about my child because I love my child, or I want to do this because I really want to do this. It does not have to be, all right, I've started Joy of Romeo, I'm doing this, so I have to stay all in it. That can just be your hobby. That's okay. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs. They take their hobby and want to turn it into a business when it's not really meant to be their business. It's meant to be their hobby.
Right. Yeah. Agree.
So, I think you are on a very good path. And I think a lot of people are so afraid to fail publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on the hamster wheel. But, a lot of the most amazing entrepreneurs, they fail, they just fail forward. You take the stuff you've already learned. All right, that didn't work, but how can you iterate and create something new?
That's so true. Okay. This makes me feel so much better. Like, you understand how stressed I've been. Everyone says during COVID-19, you need this is your time to think of your business and go forward. And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I have so many thoughts in my head. And it's just exactly like you said, like, should I have been taking Joy of Romeo to the next level? Should I really hone in on what I got my master's in and what my career is in now? And like, but what to do. And it's just, like, I feel like I should be doing something. But now you've caused me to say, like, no, just be at peace, be calm. And just write out, like, the difference. You just brainstorm. Like, what does it look like? What would make you happy? And then go back and plan. Don't try to dot out everything, I guess,
That's right. And if I could just offer you one thing, we literally are in the middle of a pandemic. If you don't do anything but stay home with your child and survive, that is enough. You don't have to be uber productive, working on your business around the clock. Survive, And if you have some extra time, but this is the thing that you want to do, and you have that mental space, you have the professional space, okay, then fine. But if you don't do nothing but stay black and stay alive, that's enough too. Don't feel like you have to be super, super, super productive. Because, that's the problem. That's one of the things about this pandemic that I think is so interesting. You have to be at home, right? And folks are not used to just like being at home. People are looking for things to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you have to do that either. If there's stuff you really want to do, then this is a blessing because it is a time where there's less distractions. But honey, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that either. Survive. Like, the goal is to live through this and get your child through this,
I agree. And I'm always doing something. So I'm like, I feel like this is a sign that God's telling me to be still. Like, that's what I think. Like,
amen.
because I was near burnout. So now I'm like, okay, let me be still and just brainstorm and just be calm, you know? So I like that. I like that.